What's up, everyone? I'm Tamika D. Mallory, one of your hosts of Street Politicians, and this over here
is Mysonne the General, baby. I'm in the house. #1 show, Black Effect Network.
And this
iWomanTV, baby. #1 show in the world.
You see what I have to deal with?
#1 show in the world.
And this is the place where the streets and
the
politics meet. Let's get into it. Yeah.
You see, as you can see,
you hyped today. You ready today?
I'm feeling good, man. You know what? I'm feeling good. Energy is on point. You know
I don't know how I find myself in these situations.
Energy on point. Because we out here, man. Number one show.
It's going to be the #1 show for
man,
sure.
It is.
We claiming it. We already Street Politicians.
Do the numbers, man.
#1. Right.
Who in these streets like us?
We have to call the boss man, Charlemagne the God, and ask him.
#1 show, baby.
Are we #1?
#1 show, baby.
But I know we're #1
on
iWomanTV.
#1 on iWomanTV too, baby.
That's right.
#1. What's up?
So this is our show today is about Mercy me.
#1 Mercy about to be #1 song in the world.
Yeah.
Anthony Hamilton, Mercy.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm really excited about being on Anthony Hamilton's album. You know, there's some people that you like, some people that you love, and some people that you love. You really
Anthony Hamilton's a dope dude, man. Yeah. You don't know what we talking about. Tamika Mallory is featured on Anthony Hamilton's upcoming single, Mercy.
Everyone wants to be you because you're a king, and heavy crowns are painful. But God gives his hardest battles to his toughest warriors. You don't want pity, but you damn sure deserve a little mercy.
Now, I've been holding this one for a long time. You know and let me just go ahead and tell everyone that you did 70% of the writing of my
you know what I'm saying? Ghostwriter.
Verse, if you will. It wasn't ghosting.
But I'm saying
because ghostwriting is supposed to mean you don't tell anybody, and you seem to just be telling everybody. So it really wasn't ghost at all. It was very, very clear.
Doing what I do, but it was a dope.
Nah, it is a dope.
We put that together. Man. Shout out to Anthony Hamilton. Shout out to
dope.
you for the way you delivered that. Like when you hear how she delivered it,
they're loving it. The people are loving it. So I'm happy about that. But my thought of the day, because you know I be thinking, because that's what I do. Okay. I think all the time.
Okay.
And I heard that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, the president and vice president-elect, met with a number of civil rights organizations that I love and believe in and support 100%. They call themselves legacy organizations, and in fact, I worked for one for 14 years. They met with the president-elect and the vice president, and in conversation, it's been leaked. Now, who leaked it? I don't know.
Quote unquote leaked.
It's been leaked. I know the individuals from the civil rights side who were in the meeting, and I know they're not the type of individuals to just go out leaking information because they're serious about what they're trying to get done. And they went in and they talked about police reform and other issues. In fact, I thought that, listening to the tape, that President Johnson of the NAACP, that some of his points were really, really strong. But the leaked tapes show or allow us to hear that Joe Biden kept saying, don't try to go after us and put too much pressure on us around police reform, and even on gun control, we have to be careful. And he gave some reasons. I'm not going to say they're real good reasons, but reasons for why on gun control you can't make certain moves. However, on the issue of police reform, he said, you know, we're being pummeled on the issue of on the title defund police, which, you know, I think is trash.
I also don't think we should get too far ahead of ourselves on dealing with police reform in that, because they've already labeled us as being defund the police, because that's how they beat the living hell out of us across the country, saying that we're talking about defunding the police. We're not.
He said the fight around police reform is not a good thing for us to talk about right now. We need to hold on that. We're definitely going to do some things. We're not going to defund anyone. We're just going to hold people accountable. And he goes into a whole thing, but he continuously says, this is not the time to have a big fight around police reform. Let's hold on that because we need to win the Georgia seats for the Senate seats in the runoff. And he says, and these people are hitting us hard on defunding, and they're saying we're the party that wants to defund police. So he wants people to turn down, in essence. So my thought of the day, what I was thinking about, is why do people running for office, and in this case, I have to say the Democrats, want us to turn up during election season and then turn down when it comes to actually holding them accountable for the things that we asked for? I just don't understand.
Can I answer? Because it's clearly simple, right? The Republicans have a party with a clear definition of who they are, right? And the Democratic Party is comprised of everybody else. So what it does means that you need a little bit of these people, you need a little bit of those people. There's no clear agenda within the Democratic Party. So that's why they don't adhere or focus on one base, even though constantly it seems as the black people are the ones who are bailing them out. But they understand that when they get into office, that they have to appeal to somebody else, another.
They understand, or they think,
or they believe.
They believe.
But the thing is, they have research to actually show this. You know why? Because we have taken our eyes off the ball so many times, right? So what happens is we go to the polls hard, boom, boom, we vote you in. And then what happens is they say, you know, if you look at runoff elections, they said the numbers show that mostly white people go to runoff elections. So we completely like, okay, we got the president in, we did our job, we going to sleep, we ain't doing, oh, we got the people we want, we good. They understand, and when they get into office, what they need to do is appeal to people that are going to follow all the way through. So what we have to understand is the Democratic Party nor the Republican Party have our best interests at hand. So what they're going to do is try to figure out how to appease you and give you a little bit of some. That's why I said I've never voted for an ally. I'm voting for a better opponent. So what he's doing is saying, look, I want to be able to do this. But historically, it shows that in order for me able to do anything, I have to appeal to these people. That's why they wanted Joe Biden, because he's a moderate liberal. He's one of those people who can appeal to the conservatives and appeal to the Democratic Party. So
to the conservatives and the left.
The left. So we understand this is what his strategy is. He's clear about his strategy. We were clear when the Democratic Party got him in. They were clear what it was going to take for him to be able to do things.
But that's my problem, because then what they believe, the actual research shows something different. Number one, when you think about people like Alexandria Ocasio, right? And she has said it many times. She also believes in and carries the slogan, defund police, to the chest, right? She's saying we unseated people who are moderate Democrats, right? Or moderate liberals. Whatever, because Kelly Loeffler says they are. What are they?
Radical liberals.
Whatever. And so she says we unseated a number of establishment Dems, people who, they follow that rule that you were talking about. And we put people who are progressive, super duper progressive, in office. Cori Bush is an example of that. Someone who won on the platform of changing police, defunding police. She won her election with using that same rhetoric and tone.
So what
right?
I'm trying to say
so no, I'm saying though, the research actually shows that because of the movement that hails the defund police slogan, right? And forget the damn slogan, because that's the shit that pisses me off. It's not about a slogan. It's about the actual plan. It's a plan. It is a plan. And because of people like you and me who say defund the police and mean it, We were the ones that went out and got young voters to go with Joe Biden and others. We didn't do that under our organizational efforts. But when we did our personal work, we went out and we were able to move people to vote, first of all. Because people were like, and I'm going to be at my house. Okay, but we got them to the polls, and in many cases, we were able to get people to say, you know what, I'm actually going to go out and vote for Joe Biden because I think that that's the best choice at this time. We're folk talking about defunding the police. 20% of the electorate in Georgia, 20% of the electorate in Georgia that helped to flip the state from red to blue were younger people who absolutely support the defund police movement. So it is a lie. It's not even just wrong. You know, you can say some things are wrong, some things are it's a mistake. It's a lie.
It's a bold
to say
lie.
That the truth of the matter is that folk are afraid to go up against the police unions, and many of them do not want to shake up the system. In fact, I have heard that Joe Biden is saying rather than taking money away from police, he wants to pour more hundreds of millions. I think I heard something like $300 million into policing, talking about training. We don't need no more damn training. What we need is to be able to a model exactly that takes money from one place and really and reallocates resources. And so I've said a million times, you could call it pin the tail on the donkey. Just do it.
That's the bottom line. And, you know, I think the reason why it's so difficult is because he doesn't share the same values we feel. And that's why he is a moderate liberal.
Moderate liberal. I really want to figure out what these titles are supposed to be. Liberal. I think you're right.
Exactly.
But
and that's
I don't know.
It is because he does not share the same values that we share. And they know he's right in the middle on the cusp of everything. So he's not going to be all the way with us, just like he's not all the way with them. So we got what we got, and we just going to have to keep fighting.
So what are the streets talking about today?
The streets are talking about the vaccine.
Oh,
the vaccine that I'm not going to take. I seen on my page a while ago, artist that I love, Lupe Fiasco. He wrote on his...
You and Lupe crazy together.
I'm not taking the vaccine. No, but Lupe said that he's so glad that they approved the Pfizer vaccine, and that you can't even come to his show unless you take the vaccine.
Yeah, well, I won't be going to
I was like,
Fiasco. It's not that I'll never...
And I didn't believe he said it at first, you know, and then I got some...
You went and...
I went and researched, and people DM me, yeah, he said it, you know. A lot of people had conversations with him, and this is his... You know, but it's like, for me, it's like, when you start really doing research, right, on vaccines, you realize that there's a percentage of people who die from vaccines. You know, there's who have allergic reactions, their bodies don't agree with it. You know, so my thing is, if the vaccine is worse than the actual sickness,
I'm gonna take.
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna take my chance with the sickness. Right?
Well,
I'm gonna build up my immune system, give me some good old fruits, some vegetables,
and that's a big problem.
Some seed oil, some exercise. You know, I'm gonna do the things necessary to be healthy.
That's
like,
right.
Why is nobody? I hear about this vaccine. The vaccine to be here in the world. I have not seen any major platform, any major social media, anything focusing on how do we make ourselves healthy enough to build up our immune systems to make sure that we're strong enough to
well, they
sustain.
definitely don't want you to do that when they're shoving burgers down your throat and all types of bad foods for your body, and kids can't get sleep, and they promote cereal all day and all of these things that are actually trash for your body, the stuff I love to eat. So, I agree with you. The vitamin piece is important, but I also think it's necessary for us to be responsible in the ways in which we approach these things. Yes, you and me, we probably don't need it, right? And
I don't need it at all.
Okay, so I'm just saying, I don't think we need it. I know that I'm not going to run to take anybody's vaccine. I'm not going to do that. And this is something that my family specifically has been saying even before. So prior to coronavirus or to COVID-19, my family was not into taking vaccines and flu shots and all of that. We've never ever done that, and we're okay. We are all right. But there are elderly people who are locked in their homes, who cannot go outside, and taking, you know, what do you call it, CMOS and all of that stuff. It may or may not be good for them in reaction to their medication and other things.
Well,
we don't
can I ask you
know.
a question?
No, but
what is a vaccine comprised of?
Well, I think it has a little bit of the disease, right? Or the virus. I don't know all of the things. And we should definitely get somebody to come on and talk to us and help us understand this vaccine. So to our crew, we definitely need to do a show where we break down what is in this vaccine, because our people want to know more. A lot of people have questions. Remember, the driver the other day said to us, I want to know the ingredients, right?
Yeah,
and
that's
so
what I wanna know.
I
What
think
is
that's
it
important.
made of?
But I'm going back to an important point. There are elderly people, there are people who have pre-existing conditions, who are locked in their homes. They can't go out. They're scared to death that if they get sick, they can die. We know 300,000 people. Whether or not they died because it was COVID specifically, I can't say, but the complications and or the incompetence of our healthcare system killed 300,000 people during this time period where COVID has become a thing. This pandemic is happening. And so what worries me, and I don't know what we do about it, is what do people who need it, what do they do? You know, because everybody can't take the position. Everybody is not strong and, you know, and pretty healthy and living well and working out and whatnot like you and me. And I don't work out, but you do. Some people actually need this vaccine. And with all vaccines, there are a percentage of people who will get sick. That's just the way it is. That's with every single one of them. And there's going to be some trial and error. But you got to do something. The country can't just stay as it is now. And we can't lose another million people.
Well, I just
or not that we lost a million.
I think I just think if we look at the percentages of people who can die from a vaccine, based on the percentage of people who have died from the actual sickness, and we look at it in comparison, I don't think there's really much difference.
I would love to hear those numbers, and we could talk about it again on another show, because I'm not sure
like
that,
you said, let's focus on those people who are directly impacted, who are most
likely,
threat, you know.
But that's not exactly. And I want to be careful because I don't know for sure. But I don't believe that that's how vaccines work. Vaccines do not work by giving it to a small group of people in a population, because therefore you have to be able to stop or bring down, reduce the entire population's
but if the
threat
entire
and
population is not
vulnerability
dying, why would you
to
give a vaccine to people who are really not at risk?
Because it's not about one of us. It's about all of us.
So
it's
how
each
does
one.
it
It's each
benefit?
one protect the other.
All
but
right,
anyway,
listen, you got it. Whatever, vaccines. I ain't taking it.
whatever. That's just the end of it.
That's it.
Okay. Well, listen. Our next guest
Our next guest
is somebody who we just.
we
I'm so
just
excited
dope.
to have him.
Yes, man.
Mercy.
Mercy. Just a little mercy.
Just
Black
a
man just
little
need
mercy.
a little mercy, man. We done been through so much.
Oh. Another show. Every
That's a
day
whole-
I
we could
write
have a
down
whole
show
show.
topics like, does mercy mean women are supposed to shut up and don't say anything? But anyway.
That's a whole nother show.
It's another
We're
day.
going to come back to that.
All right.
Because maybe y'all should shut up.
Oh, Lord.
Maybe. Or, you know, listen. We got my boy Anthony Hamilton in the building.
Hey, what's up, people? How you doing, my
What's
son? How
happening,
you doing?
King? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. It's good to be on here with you guys.
So good to have you join the Street Politicians. You know, this is our new show.
Yeah.
This is our new podcast on the Black Effect Network, which is Charlemagne's new baby. You know,
That's awesome.
He came to us and said, I want y'all to join my podcast network where we could be blackity black, black, black.
Blackity
He
black.
said, we're in.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
Anything blackity, blackity, black, black, blackity, black, I'm with it too.
Definitely. That's how we on it, man. So thank you for joining us, man. Like, you know, we both been big fans of yours forever. You know, so when Tamika got an opportunity to work with you, and then she reached out for my expertise, you know what I'm saying? She, you know what I'm saying? I got to get my part in, you know what I'm saying? When she reached out you know, she called me like, yo, Anthony Hamilton want me to get on his song. I need some words, you know? So I'm like, all right, let me just calm down. You know, so let me see what I can put together,
you
man.
You know, your friends are supposed to hold you down.
No, but that's
Why
what
you
I did.
telling everybody what happened?
No, it was a collaboration.
Like I did
you
it.
did because you
did.
You added the spice. You added only the things that Tamika and Mallory can put. You know, that energy. You added just little pieces of things because I wasn't gonna say certain things that you was gonna say from a woman's perspective, but it was magic, man. When I first heard the beat and I heard the way you had attacked it. It was like, nah, this song right here is gonna be something special. Special, mercy, man. So
appreciate it, man.
Thank you for allowing her to allow me to be a part of something that's gonna be part of history.
So
thank you for being a co-writer, my son, and putting that thing, putting it where it needed to be, and allowing her to have whatever it needed to set this song up, man. It's incredible piece.
Tell us about Mercy. Tell us about it.
Well, Mercy is a song, and it's the voice of a man that stands vulnerable in his walk and in his struggles, and not weak at all, not a weak man at all, but a man who's not afraid to be vulnerable. And I think a lot of times men are looked at as cement, steel, and that we don't feel anything other than that.
Preach.
We cry, we worry, we love, we get afraid, and so it's speaking from that perspective as a man, allowing people to see like, hey, you may judge me, you may not understand why I haven't risen to the occasion that you see fit for me, but there are bumps and bruises along the way. Have a little mercy for me, and just know that I'm doing my best. That's right. And just love on me, and don't ridicule me. I think the whole world takes a stab at the black man, and have for years and years.
As the mother of a young black boy, he's not a boy anymore. Actually, he's a grown man. He's 21. He'll be 22 years old soon. I have my black father and uncles who are very much so in my life, and two of the co-founders of our organization, Until Freedom, being my son, and attorney Angelo Pinto, are black men. And my entire life, I've worked for and with black men. And so I have a special place in my heart for my brothers, because I see the pain, I see the trauma, and I also see the intentional, as far as I'm concerned, misrepresentation of who you all really are. And so when asked to put my beautiful voice and all my excellence on this song, I wanted to say something that speaks to especially this idea that we're not enemies. We're not enemies, that the black woman and the black man can't be enemies. And just because we challenge one another does not mean that we hate one another and that there's no room for us to grow and be together. I think actually the family cannot be strong without us being together.
A lot of times they try to portray that we're enemies. And I think a lot of people bite the bait. And it's created in some black women just super independence, that they may not need a man, may not need a black man. And that's not true. I think every woman needs a man who can feel her soul and feel who she is and what she represents, and to be able to express to her his appreciation for her. Right. I don't think someone outside of our race could really truly do that. I mean, you can love someone, but I think when we love together, we love each other together, there's a whole different vibration. And I think there's a whole different power in that. And some people don't want to see that connection because they know how powerful it is.
That's right. It's definitely an attack on the connection, and a real intentional, very intentional thing to divide us. Mm-hmm. So this song really played a big part
bring us together.
To bring us together. Yeah. But I see you be doing these conversations about the black man's perspective.
Yeah.
And so what is that about?
Well, we just had a panel speaking on things from the black man's perspective. Jermaine Dupri, Ed Gordon, Bakari Sellers, and Willie Moore Jr. and myself, we got together and spoke on how things affect black men in this climate, and how moving forward, you know, we should intentionally strategize how to keep the Black man in a safe environment, not only just physically, but mentally and financially, and just how we can grow ourselves as men and come together.
You've made yourself a staple when it comes to being that musical voice when it talks about the struggles of Black people and when it talks about that soul, that the Black man's soul. Like every time there's a song that embodies what our struggles are or what the soul of a Black man is, you immediately think about Anthony Hamilton.
Yeah.
You know, you've made yourself a staple and an iconic position. You know, every time I hear you on one of those songs, or every time I hear a song, sometimes I'll be like, Dad, only thing was missing was Anthony Hamilton on this track. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes.
There you go.
Yeah.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it. Sometimes, you know, you just have to. It's that down home, man. It's been embedded in me from before the womb, man. Just that church and that down home Southern upbringing, and I saw men who really worked with their hands and who really made things happen. And I saw women who were there to nurture that man, and all that, you know, played a part in the texture of my voice and my spirit. And being a Southern Baptist, you know, it gave me even more texture. And then seeing the world and seeing how things really work, getting outside the house and seeing how things work around the world, you know, it creates in you a new man. And I'm just excited to be doing what I'm doing and being a voice that could be heard in this light. So
this is a part of your new album. Mercy is a song on your new album that you're probably done with, but you'll say you're still working on. That'll be released soon. How many albums do you have at this point? I know you have Grammys. I mean, you're like the man. So tell us how much of the man you are while you talk about the new album.
Man, I ain't hitting on nothing. You know, 10 albums and working on another one.
Wow.
One amazing Christmas album called Home for the Holidays.
Me and you about to work on the album.
Let's do it.
We working on that. Listen, man.
I saw you online. I was like, I saw this cat online on you know how IG have it on the Explore page. I was like, who is this cat? She was going to get it. Wow. You didn't even take a breath for about 30 minutes of spitting fire.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
Does
so that's
sometimes.
why we gonna work. Now, once I get to Anthony Hamilton on the chorus, we out of here, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I got one. It's all loaded and cocked back here.
That's right.
I have to ask him because you always asking everybody, are they married?
Okay.
So I need to know, are you married, Anthony?
No, I was married for 10 years to an amazing woman. We had my younger 3 boys, my twins that are 10 and my 8-year-old.
Wow.
And yeah.
That's a good woman.
She was a great woman, man. And I learned a lot. You know, I'll get married again.
Okay.
You will.
So you looking?
Yeah. I'm not afraid of love. Yeah, I'm not afraid. Yeah, I'm pretty open. I'm not afraid of love.
That Anthony Hamilton's DMs are open. So, you know.
Don't come in there with no mess.
He said, don't come in there. Don't slide in there with no mess, man.
Nah, man.
They're coming. Yeah. You know they come with some mess, Anthony.
Yeah, have a job.
Have a job.
I ain't want no Build-A-Bears, and I don't want it. I don't care what you look like, what your body look like. I ain't building no more bears, put no outfits or nothing. If you can't do it for yourself, I ain't doing it.
You should want me to do it for you. If you can't do it for yourself, don't ask me to do it.
So you telling me you're not looking for the booty picture where they turn the booty towards the camera?
I mean, it's cute. It's nice to look at on Instagram every now and again. Some motivation. You know, even if they bought it, it's cool. Every now and again,
but you say have a job.
Have a job with it. Right behind that booty should be a resume.
Exactly.
Tell us about the album.
The album, you know, I have some features on this one. I just did a song with John Legend called Love You. Actually written by John and produced by him. I reached out to him. I felt like my fans and his fans could really enjoy that kind of collaboration. I have one with Rick Ross, Keisha Cole on the same song, those two. It's a throwback to Mary's, like a 411 type of vibe. D-Smoke, you know. Yeah. Ty Dolla. This album is it's a journey, man. It's a journey for us now. You know, it takes you through the pain of what we just went through and the uncomfortable place we were just placed in. But it allows you to travel through that and see that things are gonna be okay. And it's knocking too. The beats are knocking, the songs are strong, and the music is very powerful.
You're consistent, man. That's one thing we could say throughout your career. There's a level of excellence and a level of consistency that gives you that iconic status. Yeah. I ain't just saying it because we cool and I met you. But you are definitely an icon and a legend in this game. So we gonna make sure you get these roses right now.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Men like roses too.
Continue with that greatness, man. Continue. And our album that we do is gonna be even greater than everything.
Oh man,
you know what I'm saying?
Because the greatest.
I'm waiting for that.
That's right.
Because the greatest MC, and rapper, lyricist ever is gonna be on it.
When you put this thing we got together, man.
He's a scrub.
You know it's gonna be spectacular.
You're a scrub. You know,
be hating sometimes.
on your way out, I know that the Black Lives Matter movement is really important to you. So let's hear a little bit about how you're feeling in this moment after we've been able to get a new president elected. I don't know how we're gonna get him in the White House, but hopefully he'll get in there. What do you want to see happen?
You know, I just want to see people really acknowledge. People to really acknowledge, you know, their part in keeping us down and coming to grips with, you know, that was the past and it matters still. But how are we going to go forward and really go forward in a way that benefits us as people and the unjust and the unfair treatment that we get? How do we prevent that from happening? How do we prevent cops from killing us and not making time? How do we get to a place where we don't just have civil rights, but human rights and things that really protect us as people? I want to see that. I want to see Black people being able to, you know, to have big corporations, to own stuff and have land and to just, you know, be self-sufficient. And just a brighter America, a more loving America, a country that really stands for, you know, all the lies they told. I want to see them. I want to see them, you know, step up to the plate and put things in place in its proper place.
Amen. Well, listen, you know, we could sit here and talk to you all day.
Yeah, man.
This is family.
Thank you so much.
But we know that you got things to do, so we want to say thank you. And a lot of artists always ask you, what can I do? You know, how do I help in the movement? If you look at Anthony Hamilton and the way that he carries himself and the way he utilizes his platform, his music, his voice, his influence to always engage, to always find an intersection. This is how you contribute, man. So thank you for being who you are.
Thank you all. And thank y'all. And thank y'all for
brother.
Same to you and for all you guys are doing and putting your life on the line and everything. It matters, man. And we pray for you guys and cover you and continued success. And, you know, we got you.
I'll see you at the Grammys next year.
That's right.
Mercy's going to the Grammys.
To the top.
Love you, man.
Right. And I see you for my album. We working on it, baby.
All right.
Hey, I'm already ready. I got the hook already ready.
Let's get it. All right, King. Peace. Anthony Hamilton.
He's single.
Oh,
go
man,
Tamika.
Please, man.
Go Tamika.
Leave that man alone, man.
Listen.
Ain't nobody can deal with your attitude, Tamika. That man
Are you serious?
That man ain't gonna be able to deal with no attitude like you.
Are you really seriously saying that to me?
What?
I am your sister.
Yeah, and your attitude
I'm one of the
sucks.
dopest women you know.
Dope.
But what does that have? What are you talking about? He's a real man.
You mean?
See, a real man.
Yo, man, don't want to be
would know
around
how
no
to
mean
handle
people
a real woman.
Mean?
That's the thing. That's the problem.
Mean?
Okay,
Look.
that's the problem.
Look at this.
Right there. That's what it is.
Got your little shenanigans going on.
Yeah, right. So that's the issue. Get to real. You know, will the real men please stand up?
Well, listen, I'm gonna go on and stand up. We'll keep on standing.
And I have an attitude.
Well,
you basically said in so many words that Anthony Hamilton wouldn't date me because I was a bitch, but that's cool.
Listen, the truth will set you free, you know? Okay. And you said a man stand up, so I stand up. But what I don't understand And I also just don't get it, as I always say.
You don't get it.
I just don't get it. What would compel someone to be a black Republican? Like, to me, how do you be a part of a party where you're not even 1% of the representation?
Well, sometimes you say 2%. So is it 2% or 1%?
But when I start thinking about it, it ain't even 1% at this point. Because if you think about all of the, just think about the
well,
Republican
it just depends
Party.
on when you say representation.
I'm talking about elected officials.
Elected officials.
That's what the representation. Representation is not the people who vote in the party. It's the people who represent the party. When you look at the faces of the party, we represent, black people represent about 1% of it. So how do you, as a black man, black woman, say, you know what, I'm going to vote with the Republican Party? Because how do you even see yourself in it? Because some people don't believe that.
Listen, we just had this conversation on another one of our episodes, and we talk about it all the time, that representation doesn't necessarily mean skin color.
But okay, even if it doesn't mean skin color, so if you understand that there's nobody in a party, right, that comes from where you come from, have had the same struggle you've had, have dealt with the same adversity you've had to deal with, how do you think that they can properly represent you?
Well, I mean, I think that, first of all, I don't get it either.
Oh, you just want to be devil's advocate here?
No, it's not that. It's not just devil's advocate. It's also being able to understand different perspectives.
Okay.
I know people like choices. They don't like to feel like they're being shuttled into one direction where they also don't see how that particular avenue is benefiting whatever it is they care about, right? So, you know, there's so many people who look at the Democrats and say, this is trash. And guess what? A lot of times I feel like the Democratic Party is trash as well. So I kind of get that some people want options. I think sometimes there's a level of rebellion that folks are just when they want to shake it up, they want to do something different. But I also think that there is a sense of, I don't think everybody who votes Republican or who is a part of the Republican Party has experienced what we've experienced. Because when I take time to get to know some of these individuals, and I have a few friends, not as many as I did before Donald Trump was elected. I had many more Republican friends at that time. Now that he has been in office, most of my friends who were Republican have changed parties because they just can't. You know, I mean, obviously, morally, they could not continue to support that party. However, those individuals, almost none of them, I would say 98% of them and a half, are people who don't have the same stories that you and I have. They don't come from the hood. They haven't experienced the projects and stepping over the urine and the drug addiction and, all of this, the poverty and trauma that we've experienced. A lot of them come from money, or they come from an affluent neighborhood, an affluent situation, and therefore they don't see themselves being, they don't see that there's no representation because the schools that they went to, everybody, all the teachers, the administration, basically white people, right? Or, non-black people. Their parents' friends are people who are not of color, many of them white. So I think sometimes it's a mindset that we're just going with what we always knew.
So for me, that's troubling, because that means that you're just a person with a black face. You don't represent black culture. You don't even represent what it is.
Well, what is black culture?
Well, black culture is the reality that the majority of the black people have to deal with. The majority of black people. So when you talk about the majority of what black people have to deal with, and then you put people who represent black people who have never dealt with that reality, then you don't really represent black people. You're a black person, right? And we're not taking the fact that you have, that's why we say all skin folk and kinfolk, because a lot of people who have black skin don't have a black experience.
Right.
So my problem is, even if you don't have a black experience, if you identify yourself with the culture of being black, right? Because there's some people who don't have a black experience. There are well-to-do people who come from it, but they've done enough research. They've been engulfed in the culture enough to understand what it is to be a black person in America, and understand that when I vote for the Republicans, right, what I do is vote against the interests of the majority of the black culture. That's just a reality. I don't care what you say. When you look at the representation in the Republican Party, when you listen to Kelly Loeffler and you listen to what these people say,
Lord.
It is so far-fetched from my reality that I am perplexed. I am perplexed that any black person who can identify with it. You know, it's perplexed. So then when I think about those... Perplexing. Yes, it's perplexing. So then when you look at those people who actually run for office, they had over 30 people run for office in the Republican Party, black people. They was like, oh, you know, we're waking up and we're doing this. We're not going to just go with the Democrats. And they had over 30 people run in Congress for different positions, and none of them got elected. So how...
None of them?
None of them.
Wow.
So how do you represent and vote for a party where people who look like you can't even get voted in? Like, how does that...
because it's interesting because they will run for office in the black community using a platform and supporting a party that people know is not of their interest.
Because they know they can't run for it in the white community.
Exactly. They can't go run for it in the white community.
It's really asinine. It is the weirdest state of mind. Because I have conversations with the people, and they always stop me. They're like, yeah, but it's changing. But until it changes, what is the mind state that you have that thinks that it represents you?
Well, I think the reality of it is that at this point, we need a party of our own. One is a disaster. It's terrible. There's nothing about the Republican Party that I'm interested in or attracted to. And the other one has failed us over and over and over again, and it continues to fail us even right now when the new administration is not even in office yet, and already we know there are several things that we're going to have to fight about, right? Which we always say. We always knew that, but just getting ready, gearing up to fight, because you can already see them leaning towards old habits, old people, not old as in age, but old like people that came from the Obama administration, the Clinton administration, folks who were not invested in doing anything that I personally see as radical or overhaul shifting of institutions. So, you know, I think both parties have just failed us. And I see that the work that, you know, Puff, or Diddy as some people call him, what he's trying to do, it is important. Jay Morrison is another individual that has been talking about building our own political base so that we can, again, leverage our power in a real way. So in the beginning, and I've said it to Puff, I've said it to other individuals, and I've also, of course, said it to Jay, that I don't think we can just start off come out the gate saying we're running our own candidates, because the unity among our people needs to be worked on as well. And we need to be able to get our allies to understand, because it's not just black people voting, it's black people plus folks who support us voting for, with us. But I think we are in a place where we can at least get organized enough that every candidate, anybody who wants to run for anything from school board all the way up, that they have to look at our agenda, commit to multiple points on the agenda, and be held accountable if not. I think that's the direction that we have to go in, because I can understand that there are some black people who have turned to the Republican Party out of a level of just not seeing themselves anywhere. However, once you turn and you see what's in front of you, you should be quickly able to turn away.
Well, I kind of don't agree.
Okay.
I feel like we're in a stage, right, where the slogan, quote unquote, Black Lives Matter, is something that everybody can identify with, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like the same way...
If you've never been pulled over by a police officer and you're a black person that lives in Hollywood, you don't see it.
But it doesn't matter. Because those people, even if I can't get you, right, what happens is like with music, right? When you get an artist who puts out a hot song and people just start following, somehow it goes diamond, sells 20 and 30 million. People don't identify. The song, what Jeezy was talking about, they don't know. What Meek Mills is talking about, what Lil Baby is talking about, they don't have a clue what he's talking about. But he sold the music so much, everybody wants to try to figure out, I need to be a part of that, right?
That's true, but I don't know if you can put a jingle.
But yes, it's not even a jingle. It's a reality.
The concerns of a movement.
It is because those same people that you identify with, right? Those same people, because they identify with our struggles. They talk about our struggles. And Puff is one of them. So when you put all of those same people who sold Diamond and 20 and 30 millions in one room with one agenda, and we do a tour not for music, but we do a tour to galvanize our own voting base, it's going to have people who identify with our agenda and identify with our culture. And
I hear you, but that's
the strategy.
I think you're off to something different, because I agree with you. We need to get in the room and we need to do the work. But I will say that, you know, a lot of people, and I hate to use this word or this term, but a lot of people just be clout chasing. Like, there are some people who literally ran to follow Candace Owens and all of those folks just because it seemed cool. It was something to do. And again, that's because, I'm going to say again, the Democratic Party has failed us so much that people are just able to say, hey, we're going to go.
I don't believe that either.
No, I'm telling you.
I believe people follow Candace because every now and then she says one or two things.
I'm not saying
that they completely.
And I agree. I'm not saying that they didn't. What do you always tell me? A broken clock is right twice a day. So I'm not saying that that's not the reason. I'm just telling you that people like to jump on gravy trains. So when they see that there are black folks going to the White House and Candace Owens is saying some stuff and people are, you know, she's getting invited to speak all over, and you don't feel like
invited to speak all over.
Oh man, I mean, Candace Owens has been to every college.
What college?
All of them. So I don't have a list of the schools that she speaks at. I don't have time to keep up with that. But I know for sure, because I see online, when I first heard of Candace Owens, I went and just did a quick Google search, and I see the universities bring her in all the time to speak. Yep. And I keep saying to you over and over that some of these black people you're talking about, their entire experience has been going to white schools, listening to speakers in their white institutions, so they do get an opportunity to hear her and others like her in those spaces. And when you have a party, being that the Democratic Party, that people don't necessarily feel has been properly representing them, it's easy for folks to say, you know, people who are not taking life seriously, in my opinion, it's easy for them to go say, okay, well, I'll just hop over here because it's cool what's going on over here. It's not like we're getting these major benefits over here either. So we're leaving holes and we're leaving people behind. And I think that it is in our, and again, the major issue for me, which you and I talk about all the time, it's the one thing that we may agree on, is that the Democrats spend so much damn time trying to appeal to people who are not with them.
And that's why
they don't spend their time trying to find an agenda that will address the more conservative blacks and the blacks who are more liberal, and and trying to figure out the group of people who have the voting potential to put you in or out of office. They spend their time trying to go get Susie, who keeps voting against you every single time.
But that means that you're proving what I'm saying, though. Yeah. Because if we create our own party, that's exactly what we would do.
How are you going to approve? How are you?
That's exactly what we would do. You just said
right about something that I said first.
No, let me tell you why. Because the whole premise of this argument was when you told Jay and you told Puff that you don't think that we can create our own party. But
excuse me. If I said that, let me correct myself.
Okay.
What I told them is I don't think that we're at the point where we can get our people to vote in the ways in which we need them to yet.
That's the same
I think that there are stages, and the first stage is being able to get our people in a mindset of being in a block where when we do vote, we have leverage.
No, but I don't believe that. I believe that what we should do is galvanize our own people and put our own candidates And then when we start withholding our vote, then it makes sense.
I think
because now when we saying that we withholding our vote and we giving it and we showing that millions of people is voting for the people we want, and what we constantly do, and like I said, the same way they do rap tours, you go from state to state and you say, listen, we need everybody in this arena right here to sign up and galvanize for our own party. We understand that we need something different.
Okay, so what I need you to understand, you know, because I have actually been doing this work for a very, very long time. We're about to bring another young lady on who we can ask her opinion. And, you know, of course, I'm not saying that you haven't, but the problem that you're going to have is that your number of people who are a part of this thing we're building will shrink significantly. And I'll explain to you why. Because the people who are your most committed voting base, period. Every election, the ones who vote the most are older black people who won't be at your rap concert. They don't give a damn about what any of us are saying, and they vote Democrat. They don't give a damn if the sky turns orange.
But they only vote Democrat because we haven't given them anything else
and that's why I'm trying to explain to
represent
you. But
them.
I'm trying to explain to you that it is a process. That's all I'm trying to say.
But the process you
doesn't...
talking about, if we got 4 years right now, 4 years. We got 4 years to worry about, 2 years to worry about another lesson.
It's not a 4-year process.
It is.
No, it's not.
So what you mean
it's not a 4-year process? Because between now and 4 years, you have another midterm election process coming up. And so therefore, what you do, this is just my political strategy, what I think. And you guys can tell me I'm wrong. I think you build a base of people. You begin to work over the next, it's probably going to take 8 years to do what you're talking about. Because in the next 2 years, you're just going to focus on keeping the momentum that you have to be able to get, to keep the seats and gain more seats in the House and in the House, right? So Senate, Congress, we need to keep that. So you're going to focus on that right now. Because you lose that, you lose the whole ball game. Then in 4 years, you will be in a situation where you can go to Kamala Harris or whomever is running on a Democratic ticket and say, over these last 4 years, we have signed up, we've registered, we've pulled together over 10 million people who say we want X, Y, Z, B, D, E, F, G. If you don't give it to us, we might be with the Republicans, depending on how you work your relationship out with your Republican friends, that you might be able to change their agenda. But anyway, you know, it might be the Republicans, it might be this, it might be the independents, it might be, you know, whatever it is we choose to do. But you now have a block of people. So now you get to put things on the agenda. It's on the debate stage. You hear people talking about it in primaries and otherwise. That's where you are in 4 years. Now you take that 10 million. When people see your elderly people and others, they see that you took 10 million people and you moved policy as a result of it, they're going to say, okay, I'm going to sign on. And now for the next 4 years, in the next 4 years, you've got 30 to 40 million people. And now you're able to say, we're running John.
So what
I think.
What I'm saying is, I hear you, and I just want you to say, even though our elderly is our biggest voting base in the world, in the country, and it's because our youth are not being invigorated. So what I'm saying is, you're going after a base that's already been established, right? That is committed to something because they feel like it only represents them. I'm going after a base that probably is way bigger than that's what's established, that has committed to nothing because they feel like nothing represents them. Yeah, so I figure, especially when you look at the culture that we have and you look at the reach that all of these artists and all these people have that want to change something, if you do this like you do a rap tour around the world and you galvanize, it could be over 10 million because each one of them has their own fan base of 10, 20, and 30 million.
I don't want to keep our guests holding, but here's what I will say. I'm willing to do whatever y'all tell me.
Let's get it.
I'll do the rap tour. I'll do whatever y'all say is going to work, and I support that 100%.
That's right. We're going to ask our next guest. We're going to ask our next guest.
Are young people
I think our young people
reliable enough for us to depend
on?
So
That's what you asking
So
the
we
young
are now
people?
going to be
Oh, look,
joined
she said
by
what?
Aaminah Turabi, who is, she's already, look it. I mean,
she ready to tell
she's
you
got
that the young
everything.
people
She's
is ready.
a state director for March for Our Lives,
That's
Georgia,
right.
a deputy director for Rise, Georgia, getting out the vote, registering people, and also just working on a lot of incredible stuff. And, you know, on Street Politicians, we do an activist organizer segment every week, and it's good to have you with us, Aaminah. What's going on in Georgia?
Thank you for having me. It was a great discussion y'all were having. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yes, you're going to be a part of it now because we want to know, what do you think? Do you think that if we strategically.
What is a strategic? Yo,
listen to me.
Aaminah,
I make up my own
words.
And it's cool. If we strategically organize around our youth and we appeal to what the youth want right now, do you think that we can galvanize enough energy to create our own voting party?
100%.
Woo! Let's go, Aaminah.
But
don't butt me, please.
But young people these days, they've seen a lot, and coming like overall police brutality. They've seen how college debt affects them. They've seen all these things. And I was hearing y'all talking, and no one is talking about these issues. We keep talking about the same things over and over again. So it's like, does anybody actually care about us? Like you said, the elderly are our biggest voting base. But let's be real, they won't be around when we get to a certain age. So are we going to continue this cycle of messing up the world, then coming back, trying to fix it, then going back, messing it up again? So something has to change.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
I agree.
Galvanizing the youth, whether it be changing somebody's mind. But on that point, I don't believe in changing people's minds. I believe once your mind is made, you're not coming back.
I think that you guys are right. There's an appetite for it. But, you know, as an organizer, I understand the process that things takes, changing the mindset, being able to get unity, being able to make sure people are responsible. And so I think that it's definitely called a party, and its goals are to ultimately be able to capture the votes and be able to run your own candidates and what have you. But I think that the process getting towards that requires some political education. People who vote Democrat all the time, which again, I have to say it because I wanted to make sure it's clear, because, you know, I see people watching the show right now who are like, oh, she's just a Democratic, you know, hustler. She just works for the Democrats. But the people who do vote Democrat, diehard voters, those are individuals who have been voting that way for years and years. This is not something new that happened just because, you know, a couple of years they've been invested.
So I feel like we have fallen into this cycle of voting for the less of two evils.
Yeah.
2016, 2020, we keep doing this. And I feel like a reason that Bernie didn't get the nomination was they weren't thinking what's good for the country, what's good for the people. They were thinking, well, Joe Biden can bring in these moderate votes, so let's vote for him. I remember when I found out that Joe Biden got the nomination, I was like, wait a minute, because I know everybody who was here was like, wait, I want Bernie. But then suddenly the mindset changed, and it's like, well, who can beat Trump? And we need to get out of this, because that's not how we gonna have change in the country. We talk about a revolution, we talk about radicalizing and tearing down these institutions and this systemic oppression that is built from the ground up. But we can't keep doing that if we're just like, who can beat this person? It's not like a 4-year stretch. This goes way beyond that.
Right. I think you have the mindset that's necessary to do exactly what Mysonne is talking about. And anytime that I hear someone who's willing to push us beyond what I may be saying, which, you know, again, I think I'm laying out a strategy that is a winning strategy, but I also know that we cannot move through that process slowly. Like, this is not a delayed thing. We got to go time. So
tell us about some of the GOTV work that you've been doing in Georgia.
Of course. Well, November, we flipped Georgia.
That's
right. It was on the ground. Whew, still can't believe this day. It's been a month, but on the ground, organizers did that. It wasn't the Democratic Party. It wasn't Joe Biden and Kamala Harris coming down and being like, "You should vote for me." It was people realizing that this election is not a one-way flight. It's more like a bus connect. And we have to get on this connection flight to go towards change. And that's how we got Joe Biden in. But now we're sitting in a position where like, okay, we want change, right? We want to address police brutality, and we want to address criminal justice reform, and we want to address healthcare. But this administration can't do anything if the Senate doesn't work. We're going to be back to Obama's lame duck sessions. How he had it, he couldn't get anything done either. Right. So we realized that getting John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock into office is the only way we can get it done. Step one was getting Joe Biden in. Step two is getting these people in so we can actually get the stuff that we want done. Of course, it's not going to be 100% of the radicalization that we want. It's not going to be automatic free healthcare, automatic free college, because let's be real, they're not going to go for it at all. But something along the way is going to happen. So here, like y'all said, we've been targeting youth because between November 3rd and January 5th, 23,000 high school kids turned 18. That's a whole new voting block right there. We tapped into that. We know that runoff elections don't have a high turnout ever. It's always old white people that show up to the polls, and that's why historically runoffs tend to be more Republican because your voter base is not showing up. Now, this election is on such a weird date, you know, like right after the new year, or you still recovering, you don't even remember what year it is, January 5th, but it's to remind these people, like all summer long, you was in these streets. We were in these streets all summer long. We protested, people got beat, people got arrested, but was it for nothing? Is what we did, is that for nothing? Are we just going to sit here and be like, okay, the cycle's out, we forget the momentum? It's like, remember the things that you were fighting for. Remember how people who are suffering from Corona come back home with $3 million bills because they don't have health insurance. Remember these problems that you know and that you have faced on the daily basis, and go out and vote based on that. Don't just go out and vote because I told you you should go out and vote. Vote because your story needs to be heard on the federal level.
Well, thank you, because I feel invigorated. I feel confident that we going to get the votes, because if you are any example of what we have to look forward to in our youth, then I know the movement is in good hands. So we want to thank you for the work you do. We want to thank you for coming to our show and gracing us and agreeing with me with the fact that the youth can definitely lead the way and be, you know, the catalyst for the change. There you go. Sometimes you know a thing or two. The catalyst for change.
I agree.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Take care.
Be safe.
We'll see you in Georgia.
Keep being great, Queen.
Thank you. See you on January 5th.
That's right.
All righty.
All right. We have some amazing young people.
Yeah.
In this
dope
movement.
Young people. I mean, that's dope.
I mean,
we have to find out how we can help her. We didn't ask her how we can help her and whether or not we can support any of her organizational efforts, but we'll make sure that
we'll definitely reach out. And so we need y'all to help us too. Let us know how we can help you. If you know anybody that's on the ground, young, old, whoever's doing the work in your community, how can we support you? What do you need from us? How can we uplift your voice? How can we lend our platform to your struggle? Let us know.
Yeah, for sure. Because, you know, that's an important segment for us. We talk about it all the time. I'm probably a broken record, but I think it's really important that we consistently bring people on our show who are on the ground doing real work. Because there's a lot of people, again, that get a lot of attention, but they don't necessarily be doing the work. But, you know, I digress. Since I was told that I'm mean today.
I mean, not mean. I mean that you just have a mood that you get in sometimes that can be difficult. It's a difficult mood, you know, and that I think that's why we don't agree on a lot of things. You see, we didn't agree about the young and old people.
And you realize that your mood is horrible 90% of the time.
My disposition is excellent.
Oh,
I have an
we
excellent
definitely don't
disposition.
agree
if
about
you ask
that.
90% of the people whose disposition is different,
Right.
oh, you really want to have this conversation?
Okay.
Anyway, once again, we don't always agree. And I'm not going to always be right. And she's not going to always be wrong. But we will always be authentic.
Yep, that's
Thanks
right.
for joining us.
It's
you
a
want
wrap.
to watch us, iWomanTV. You want to listen to us, Black Effect Network on iHeartRadio.
Yeah.
Tune in. Let us know what you think. Give us your ideas. Give us your feedback. Tell us we trash. Tell her how mean she is. Tell me how dope I am. Let us know. We can't wait to hear from you.
Yeah. Street
Salute.
politicians, we're out.
Peace.